Welcome into the DNVR Avalanche Podcast, live from the Toyota Lounge, powered by your Front Range Toyota dealerships and presented by Bet365. We've got Bailey and Rudo coming to you live on another Avalanche off day. AJ should be joining us a little bit later. A 3-day break here for the Avs, which in some ways I think is warranted. The Avs schedule has lots of back-to-backs coming. They've already played a few back-to-backs. A break is a good thing, and I understand the realities of the real world. You have scheduling conflicts at arenas, and it causes schedules to be weird sometimes. But I'm curious, Bailey, what does your ideal schedule look like? Because I can't imagine it's what the Avs schedule is currently going through.
This is insane to me. I'm all for breaks, right? But I'm also the kind of person that believes in everything in moderation.
Yeah.
And there's something to be said about getting on a, schedule where you're playing games like every couple days, maybe every other day, and getting into that sort of rhythm so you're not kind of losing a beat in any sort of way. And that's the kind of thing that I hate about this. I'm all for rest. I'm all for, maybe a little bit beat up Avs team getting some rest for 3 days straight. But I don't like a break this long. I don't like it one bit. I don't know how else to phrase it. It's not my favorite thing in the world.
The Avs will have played one game in 6 days going into this back-to-back this weekend. It is odd.
I mean, I know you and I talked about it a little bit too, but the fact that there are so many back-to-backs as well, just makes this so much more jarring to me. I understand these back-to-backs are not at Ball Arena, but it's just so strange to me how they decided to structure this little bit from end of October to into November. It's crazy to me. I don't know.
I just feel like other leagues have a pretty established how this works when it comes to a season schedule. You play your games on a homestand. It's every other day. You have a travel day. You're on the road. It should be every other day. And then when you fly home after a break, you get an extra day off. You get that second day off every time you fly home for an extra day at home, for extra rest, that type of thing. Instead, it genuinely feels like the NHL scheduler just threw paint at a wall and said, all right, well, these are the days you're playing.
And it happens every year, too. There's always some gripe that I think every fan base can relate to this in some way. There's always some gripe with how the schedule is structured at any point in the season. You get some days like this, and then you move into the latter half of the schedule where you will be hard pressed to find a 3-day break for, I think, anyone.
Yep.
And that's what's kind of weird to me. Again, as you say, like other leagues have somewhat of an established thing. Okay, we're going to play on this day, this day, this day. You've got this to practice. Or with the NBA, like it even seems like it's a little more structured. The NHL, I mean, I know we say all the time that the NHL is the weirdest league in sports, but this just kind of puts that on another level for me.
I don't know. And again, like I understand some of it is buildings have other tenants, buildings have other events that they're doing, and that does create some of the strangeness, but certainly it doesn't have to be this weird.
Suffer with that, though.
Yeah.
It seems like the NHL's getting the short end of the stick in that regard.
It does. And I did want to get your thoughts. Well, let's start broad and we'll work our way down. Bailey, some of the 2027 outdoor games or heritage classics or whatever you want to call them were announced. Notoriously, I am the fun hater when it comes to outdoor games. I think they're stupid and dumb and I don't like them. Where are you at with the outdoor games in the NHL?
I personally love them. I think the one single one that I've been to was probably the most fun that I've ever had at a hockey game. You've got 50,000 plus of your closest friends and community members cheering for the guys down there playing. It's a lot of fun, and especially if you can kind of tie in different aspects of celebrating the community that you're playing in and kind of catering the experience to the fans. Again, when I went to the one out in Carolina, like it was big on tailgating. It was big on, the college aspect just because it was played at a college stadium. And they really leaned into that with that stadium series. I'm hoping to see like if it's done right. I'm excited to see how this one works. My whole thing isn't the Stars stadium an indoor stadium?
It is not outdoor at all. Correct. Yeah.
That's what was strange to me. It's not an outdoor game. It's
It is not.
okay, it's an indoor game with more seats.
Yeah.
And that's
I don't know.
Yeah, that was weird to me. I don't know. Otherwise, I don't know. Again, if you can lean into the community aspect and what Dallas is known for, and what Texas is known for, I think they've got the foundation set for making this one fun too. It's just when it just becomes the same thing over and over again, and it's just a generic, okay, we're setting up an outdoor game, let's go play a hockey game, and that's that. Like that's where it kind of loses me a little bit.
Yeah, I do think a good point in the chat from A Wolf. Outdoor games, I think, are a lot cooler when they're an event, not even necessarily like a home game for a team, but you get those neutral site style games that they have a little bit of extra something special to them. I think I'm more tolerant of them. The hockey sucks so often in those games because of the weather, because of you're fighting the elements a little bit, that I'm not a huge fan of it.
And maybe that's something maybe that's something they don't struggle with as much, being an indoor stadium.
True. The hockey quality should be all right.
Like, it's still Texas, but like maybe it's better Texas indoors. I don't know.
I mean, they have problems there, and we might be done with outdoor games in Texas at that point. I think. It is Dallas. Supposedly, the players know. Tyler Sagan the other day saying he knows the team but wouldn't tell anybody. Should it be the Avs?
Yes. I want to kind of do like a little build up for that. Yes, I do think it should be the Avs. Just given, the animosity and focus on the first round of playoffs last year, that it was so much fun. You see this rivalry ignite to a level it's maybe never seen before with Mikko Rantanen on the other side of the ice. And that alone, as much as I am maybe not a proponent of, beating that story any more than it needs to, like it's been a while now, we're in a brand new season. The guy that the Avs traded for in that whole situation is finally extended. I'm also a believer that, as long as Mikko Rantanen is in the Central, it's going to be a relevant story. So there's something to be said about that. It's an ignited rivalry. We saw how many eyes the first round drew last season. And that was, again, first round of playoffs that looked like this should not have happened at this point in playoffs. And it was electric. Being in that arena, seeing, these fan bases sort of go at each other a little bit. You're seeing the guys on the ice kind of go at each other a little bit. It's fun. It's fast-paced hockey. The story behind that as well just kind of cements that point for me in saying it should be the Avalanche. There's a story here. There's a rivalry here. It's fun. It's electric. no kind of I can imagine where they'll head with it. It should be the Avs.
I think so too, even if I don't want it to be the Avs.
No, I don't know. I'm on the fence about that portion of it. When looking at it logistically, I'm like, I could say it till I'm blue in the face. Yes, it should be the Avs. Wanting that, I'm still kind of on the fence about it, just given how rowdy the fans especially get and how many problems that causes. But I don't know.
Someone was saying they're going to try and sell out the whole stadium for that, which seems like a crazy task, but
yeah.
they might.
I mean, if you can make it happen, you're going to get a lot of butts in seats, regardless.
The only other real options are you give Chicago their 100th outdoor game to play against Dallas, which is dumb, and a lot of people are going to hate this, but not Dallas fans. You play against the Buffalo Sabres and you make the creases 4 times as big and you draw a skate in one of the creases for the outdoor game.
Oh, God. I was almost kind of the mindset that they'd try to get Utah into this one. That kind
honestly,
of,
yeah.
it makes sense to me, that or Carolina.
Sure.
Just because they were the other kind of storyline in the whole Rantanen situation would also be something I'm sure Carolina fans would love. Dallas fans would, they're like, why?
Yeah.
But right. No, I don't know. I'm of the mindset it's going to be one of Chicago or Utah if the Avalanche don't kind of get their due, I guess, with this one, with storylines and media, whatever. I don't know.
Now that I'm thinking about it more, maybe Minnesota too, the kind of we stole your team angle, I guess, could be a thing. But
I did see someone who was in my comments when I posted about that saying if it is the Avalanche, they need to do like a Nordiques and North Stars thing. And I'm like, no.
There's a team in Minnesota again. I don't think they can be the North Stars.
I don't think they can do that. But yeah. I mean, I don't know. To each their own. I don't know. We can speculate as much as we want. I either way this goes, I hope I'm not surprised, but I also hope I am. I don't know.
It'll be what it'll be at the end of the day. And it's not in Colorado, so I don't have to worry about it too much. I'll be watching it on the television either way.
Yeah, I'm fully expecting a original 6 team to go in, and I'm like, all right, this is every other outdoor game that's ever been played ever. So
yeah,
whatever at this point.
Another Boston Bruins jersey to get made. All right, that's what we really need right now.
Right.
A new segment that's totally real and not something that I just made up on the spot. I was talking with Tiff about this before the show. Jordan Binnington, dork or dick?
I'm going to be so honest. I cried laughing when I saw that video last night. When seeing the quote come out about it too was that was hilarious. He was basically like, I basically got the assist on that because I miffed on the save or whatever. So maybe I deserved a piece of it too, which is hilarious. But also, that's his 900th goal puck, dude.
Yeah.
Like, it's the throwing the water bottle thing all over again for me. It's just kind of like, what? Why? I don't know.
If it wasn't Jordan Binnington, I could buy the conversation of like, oh, he was just messing around. Like he's pretending to hide the puck and then gave it back. But it's Jordan Binnington. So like, I actually believe he was trying to steal Alex Ovechkin's 900th goal puck. Like,
I don't know. If it came out and I could genuinely believe him when he says like, no, I was just trying to like get in on the fun, whatever. Like, I don't know. I feel like Binnington's got enough of a reputation at this point where I'm like, nah, screw that.
Yeah,
nope.
I don't know. Also, woof, the St. Louis Blues goaltending has been bad this year.
the St. Louis Blues, period, have been bad this year, but
they are tied for worst in the league.
yeah, which I don't know if I had that on my bingo card, but that's an interesting storyline for me. I don't expect it to stay that way, but it will be a nice little, I don't know, karma, I guess, if they end up in the bottom 10 in the league.
Sure.
Especially
Yeah.
for that little stunt alone.
Maybe there's a little something to that on that front. I do want to talk not necessarily about the Blues directly, but a little bit more in period 2. But we got to take our first break here as we got our sponsors, including Christie Sports. You got to get with them to rent your skis or snowboards. It's where I've gone for my entire life to rent my skiing equipment. Yeah, I'm a skier. I know. We're pretty cool. Maybe not as cool as snowboarders, but still pretty cool. They've got high-quality gear and industry-leading prices, and they have over 50 locations everywhere you love to ski up in the mountains, so you don't have to worry about traveling round trip and doing all this weird stuff. They do a great job with the rentals, too. You don't have to worry about things like tuning. You can get tuning all season long included as part of the deal. You also get free size swaps if you find you don't like the skis or snowboards that you initially got. And you can get 20% off your season rentals when you book online at the link in the comments. Make sure you use that link and use code DNVR20 to get that 20% off. Of course, you must book your season rentals online to get the discount, and you have to book by November 23rd. So make sure you're getting in at your local Christie Sports to get your season rentals, and you're good to go for all of ski and snowboard season. Once you got your ski rentals, Christie Sports takes care of the snow sports. Go take care of the rest of your sports here in Colorado at Dick's Sporting Goods. You can get all sorts of equipment for baseball, football, soccer, basketball, golf, and more. Even your tailgating essentials can be found at Dick's. Maybe the coolest part is your local Dick's here in Colorado now have some DNVR merch at them. If you want to go pick up some DNVR shirts, you can find them at Dick's. Of course, they have top brands too, like Nike, Adidas Originals, FP Movement, VRST Calia, and more. They've got it all at Dick's, and you can get it fast with free curbside pickup at your nearest store or easy shipping from Dicks.com, because every season starts at Dick's. Go get them. Go get with them, for real, though. Dick's has got our merch. I think it's cool. Second period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. The brutal start for the St. Louis Blues. The brutal start for the Calgary Flames this year, Bailey. And there could be other teams included in this. Do we think we see a coach get fired before the new year?
Ooh. I don't know. Didn't St. Louis just turn over some of their coaching staff? It feels strange for them to go that route immediately. So if somebody gets fired, I don't know if I'm quick to say it's going to be some of the Blues staff.
Yeah.
But with where Calgary maybe should be with some of their higher end talent, I wouldn't be surprised. I think there are other options they could go there that they might be kind of looking at and saying, you know, we could turn this negative into a positive. Calgary just doesn't seem like that kind of team.
Sure.
For me. I don't know. I think just for the fun of it all, because I think you and I are in separate spots there. I am not a fun hater. I think it'd be I live in chaos, so that'd be exciting for me personally. But no, I think with Calgary, where Calgary's at especially, it wouldn't surprise me if that's the direction they're headed.
It's bad in Calgary.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
I don't know what they do.
You know, and with all the rumors too about Kadri being on the chopping block too, where do you think he ends up if that's the route they go with him?
I mean, I know a significant portion of the Avzosphere that would love to say Colorado for that answer.
Right.
But I don't see that being the case. For him to go to a contender, Calgary would probably have to retain, and that's a lot of years of retention that you're signing up for with him.
Yeah.
So I do think it might be a little bit tough for them to move Kadri. But anything's possible, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But I wonder if that's a guy who ends up at a team like Chicago, if they feel like, hey, we're trying to accelerate our window a little bit.
Kadri's good, but I don't
He
know if
is.
he's going to do anything for. I think Chicago needs a lot more help than just a Nazem Kadri.
For sure, but how many teams can actually afford his $8 million contract
Fair.
to just drop? I mean,
Yeah.
and maybe you're trading something back there, but I'm not digging that deep into that trade today. I am glad you brought up trades with Calgary, though, because beyond Kadri, there have been some rumors around Rasmus Anderson as well. Supposedly, Colorado had been linked to him. If you have thoughts on Anderson specifically, go off. But the question I'm more asking is, should Colorado even really be looking at trade targets at this point? Does it feel too early, or are you always trying to get better?
You can. I don't know. I think yes, they're always looking at bettering the team. That's something Chris McFarland has said numerous times over the last year and a half, 2 years. My whole thing is you don't have a healthy decor right now, and until you get Sam Girard back and you see him in more games than just two, I'm not sure as though the Avalanche have much work to do on that front. I know tons all on the trade Sam Girard train regardless, but I mean he's a good puck moving defenseman who has not played a significant portion of the season. We haven't really seen what this year has to give for Sam Girard. So as soon as you get him back, play a couple games there and then make that assessment. I'm not on the train of the Avalanche need to make a move, especially there at this point. Like I think they're solid right now with where they're at.
AJ joining us. Your thoughts on Rasmus Anderson and the Avs? Should they even be looking to make a trade right now? Obviously, if the perfect one comes along, you do it. But beyond that,
looking to make a trade, yes. That trade being Rasmus Anderson, no. Why do they need another right-handed guy? They don't need a guy that's got bad feet. They don't need a guy whose underlying numbers have cratered as his responsibility has gone up in Calgary, which is less of a concern for me just because that wouldn't be his job in Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
But it's I think it's right position, wrong fit. Wrong player. I'm much more interested in the Jamie Alexiak, Carson Soucy's of the world. If you hang out in our Discord, you'll know that everybody has convinced themselves that Parker Witherspoon is the man. So that's kind of where we're at. I think Bailey, I would agree with you mostly in that Sam Girard's not going anywhere. Just the way that he has played, it would have to be a good deal for me to want to move Sam Walensky.
Yep.
He's just been so good and such a great fit, and frankly, Josh Manson is off to a spectacular start to the season.
Yep.
It's like it's just it's such an odd position to be in where you're I'm like Chris McFarland's got to be looking at his roster going, I'm the first GM in how long that has an overload on the right side, and I don't want to give any of those guys up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
that's where I'm kind of
odd place to
sitting.
be.
That's where I'm sitting too, is if the Avalanche do make a trade, I'm not a huge fan of what that return would be to get them to where they ideally would want to be without giving any of that up. Like I think you become somewhat of a worse team going for some of that, unless you're going for some unknown, like I want to take on a chance on this guy kind of player. But they've already kind of done that. So I don't know. I don't see it turning out and turning into a positive situation for the Avalanche in that regard.
So let me ask you this then, as a question we asked before the season started, and I think we all settled on the biggest hole to fill for the Avs was an extra left D. Is that still the case today, or is 4C maybe the spot you're targeting more in the potential trade market down the line?
I think for me it's still the third pairing left shot D.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
just because like we know, look, we would agree on the whole that Parker Kelly is a better wing than center.
Yep.
But with Kiviranta, with Kelly, with O'Connor, with the breakout of Gavin Brindley in particular, like you're looking at it as like you can live with Parker Kelly playing center if you really need to. Like you're fine there. The one thing that you don't like that you're giving up is that this guy that's going to play all these defensive roles for you can't win a faceoff. And that's a concern. Like it's a fair concern. It's something you're worried about. But with a left-handed D, with that left shot third pairing D, it's really just about it's not anything against Sam Malinsky. It's that Sam Malinsky is going to get you through 82 games without any issue, and his puck moving and the way that he plays the game is such a great fit in Colorado. But it's not a great fit for this Colorado.
Yeah,
and that's the rub. So I would still say that the left shot D is where I would start.
That's kind of where I'm sitting as well. If I mean, Bardakov's had maybe one or two decent games. My biggest issue there is that the trust is obviously lacking with him at center on that line. I think a lot more trust comes from Bednar when you see Kelly in that spot, and you're seeing that line deployed in kind of a different manner. So I think there's maybe some aspect or situation to be looked at there. I think they've got that for the most part filled though. Like that left side defenseman is really where they're kind of struggling. And you see Bednar already kind of shuffles lines up as it is. You could see anybody playing with anybody on any given night. And that's the situation that Sam Malinsky is kind of finding himself in, is they can't really trust his partner. So they're deploying him in a very kind of frantic manner. And I love Sam Malinsky. I love the way that he's played, but that's not going to do much for developing him into a, solid NHL guy. Like, I think he's already there, but there's so much more, I think, left in the tank for a guy like this. This is not doing anything to help that.
Sure.
Yeah, it's a very piecemeal approach to how they're handling Sidler. They're like, Sam Malinsky is too good to sit and treat like he's the same player, as the same caliber player as Ilya Solovyov or Jack O'Shawn, but he's not so good that we're going to give him like top 4 minutes on any kind of a consistent basis, which is fair. I'm not saying they should. I don't think he's that good. I don't think he should get that job. That's not what I'm after. I'm just saying, Bailey, your point about him just like it's very like inconsistent usage night to night, because if he's playing better, they need to put him in more. But how do you do that? It disrupts everything that they're doing. You don't really have the harmony of Gerard Burns and then left side D and Josh Manson and Taves and Makar at the top, and you just run those 6 guys out every single night and you don't ever think about it. So it's such an odd place to be.
And we've seen over these last couple of games, especially, part of Bednar's solution to this has been trying to get Devon Taves away from Cale Makar. Not that they aren't playing together a ton, but you've seen a lot of deployment of like, well, Devon, you can play the left, so get out there, buddy.
Yeah.
Just worth noting.
I don't know.
One of the many nuances of Jared Bednar's defense, which I do think everyone has been playing with everyone. We've seen Makar and Burns play together at times. The Avs are certainly top loading their minutes when you're talking about a guy like an Ashan or Solovyov getting 9 to 12 minutes a night. It's just not very much.
No.
So,
I don't know. But that's just kind of the luck of the draw at this point again, until you get a Gerard back. Like that's I don't see Bednar changing his ways unless Solovyov has like this insane breakout game or 2 games in a row, which again, I don't predict happening.
And like rightfully so. This is not a knock on Bednar by any stretch. It's just the reality of the room that they're in.
Bednar has plenty of criticisms that we could levy at him in terms of his usage.
Actual legitimate ones, yeah.
This is like, you can understand why this looks the way that it does. You can understand it was Zakhar Bardakov at 4C. Like, defensively, he's been a train wreck. Like, you don't want that for a fourth line. You get it. So it's interesting because you can make in my opinion, you can make just as strong an argument for the 4C spot as the third pairing left shot spot, but one of them is higher impact, and right now I think that's the defensive. That's the defensive spot. And there's no depth. There's really no depth beyond those guys that you're comfortable with. At forward, you're feeling pretty good about a decent amount of that wing depth where you're like, hey, if the playoffs start with this group and they're healthy, Gavin Brindley is your 13th forward. He might be your 14th forward. Like, you're in a good spot.
And even if you're looking for more centers, you still have an Ivan down in the AHL. That's like, do you love this option? No, but like, if you need a fourth line center, you can throw him up there and you don't hate it.
He's got the NHL experience to back that up. So
Krzyzewski unfortunately started the season injured, so that is one less option for the Avs. But just in general, and we do need to take our break here, so I'll be quick. But mechanically, how the NHL works, a third pairing defenseman is almost always going to be more valuable than a fourth line center. It's just it just is what it is. We will be taking our second break here, though, as we jump in and shout out our sponsors, as we so love to do. We are, of course, brought to you by the presenting sponsor of today's show, Bet365. You can get in with them where it's never ordinary. Use the DNVR365 code to sign up today. Put $10 in your account. Bet $5 on anything. Win or lose, you get $200 in bonus bets. That's $200 in essentially free money to gamble with. You can go bet them, and if you lose, you lost fake money. If you win, the fake money turns into real money. So jump in with Bet365 today. Get those $200 in bonus bets with code DNVR365. You can use the bonus bets on pretty much any bet on the site, so that's great. You also get a bunch of other boosts. They have boosted parlays in the NHL. If your team that you pick to win ever gets up by 3, you get paid out immediately. You don't have to wait for them to actually win the game, or if they blow it, you still get paid if they get up by 3. So great options with Bet365. Go check them out. Of course, use that DNVR365 code. Download the app with the QR code on screen right now to get those $200 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. Of course, you must be 21 or older, physically located in Colorado, and if you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER today. And then, if you want to go watch and see if your bets hit in person, Game Time will get you the tickets to get to your sporting events, whatever it might be. Could be an Avs game, could be basketball, football, could be any game in the country, could even be concerts and the theater. Game Time has it all covered. If it's a ticketing event, you can get your tickets with them. When you download the app and use code DNVR, you get $20 off your first purchase with Game Time. And they have tons of ways to get great deals on tickets, whether it be their section selector, last-minute ticket deals, or just search for the tickets you're looking for, and the Game Time Picks feature will filter out all of the junk and only show you the best tickets for the best prices. Jump in, take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download that Game Time app with the DNVR code for $20 off your first purchase. Tap Ticket Go. Download the Game Time app today. Third period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast, and I did want to start drifting into our title topic of today. What makes this year's Avs team different from last year's Avalanche team? And I know we're going to sit here and there are some obvious answers. Yes, Victor Olofsson wasn't playing for the Avalanche last year. Yes, Brent Burns wasn't playing for the Avalanche last year. Yes, Dave Hackstall is now on the coaching bench. Sure, those are obvious things. But we have enough of a season, 14 games in, where we can start to get a different feel for what Colorado is doing this year. Let's start here. Do we think the Avs are deeper than last year?
Yeah.
I would say so. Regardless of where you're sitting at fourth line, you've still got, a dangerous lineup that you can put out there night in, night out. I think the Avalanche are lucky to have what they have to deploy in the bottom six, and not and not only that, but you've got a kind of bottom six that for the most part knows their role. They know exactly what their job is in any given night against any given matchup. You've got guys who maybe were brought in at the end of last year in the offseason that have adjusted really, really well. Like you've got a Jack Drury who is performing miles better than I would say he did toward the end of last season. And I mean, not just that too, but having as much as they do in reserve as well, like with the Eagles for a team that is still touted as, you know, not having the best farm system. Like they've got a lot of dangerous call-ups as well. They're a hard team to play against. I think maybe not miles harder than what they were last year, but you've got some danger on all four lines here.
Yeah, I agree. If I take that question, and maybe this is too similar a question, maybe it feels like I'm asking the same thing, but I think there is some nuance to this. We agree the Avs are deeper. Are the Avs better than last year's team? And I think pretty clearly they're better than what the Avs were at the start of last year. You look at the goaltending exclusively, you can say that. Are the Avs better than they were at the end of last year as a team?
I would still say yes.
Yeah, I mean, their center depth is a little bit worse because they don't have a 4C that they know, like they're comfortable with. And Jack Drury was their 4C, and Charlie Coyle was a pretty decent 3C, with the caveat that Charlie Coyle was terrible in the postseason series, and that hurt. I like the team that they have, though. Like, I think that they're good, they're deep, they're talented. We're talking about, is their biggest need a fourth line center or a third pairing defenseman? You know, like you're in a really good spot there. I think that the roster is much harder to play against. The addition of Landeskog, a healthy Val Nichushkin, like clean, healthy, you know, kind of out there doing his thing, hunting pucks the way he used to. You have a bottom six. Like Victor Olofsson isn't scaring anybody in terms of his physical play, but he's playing a committed brand of hockey, and his production is undeniable. Even if you cut out the power play, 7 points in 14 games, like for a guy that averages like 11 minutes a night, like come on. He's doing what you want out of him. Like it's just such a well-rounded team. And last year it felt like if it's not Nathan MacKinnon, it's not happening. And we just watched them their last game. They beat the Tampa Bay Lightning straight up. They beat them in regulation. It's a good hockey game. Two really good teams. And they did it with Nathan MacKinnon's line having their worst night of the year.
Yep.
Just in terms of how they played. Like they were awful. Fine. Mm-hmm. Still won the game. That line made one play on the power play. Great. Still won the game. Did what they had to do. I mean, they're a great team. They're a great team.
Love it. I know the answer to this question is harder to get to a good place about than it is, are the Avs better than they were last year? How do they compare to 2022? And I know, caveat, guess what? A trade deadline is still coming where you're expecting the Avs to add some pieces.
Yeah.
But you're looking at that 2022 team. People have made the inference of, hey, Victor Olofsson looks kind of like what Andrei Burakovsky was for that 2022 team. You have a Gabe Landeskog back, even if, what caliber of player you're getting out of him. You have a team that they talked about hunger a lot in the early part of the season, and they certainly look committed to having each other's backs out on the ice. Can we compare those two teams, or is 2022 still in a class of its own?
2022 is still in a class of its own, but as you mentioned, that team made 4 deadline additions.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of work to be done on that roster. And I think that you're looking at some of the same. I don't know that they need to have the same caliber of deadline, but like Arturi Lehkonen was a bottom 6 guy in Montreal. None of us, when they acquired him, none of us were talking about, oh, he's going to be a top line mainstay next to Nathan MacKinnon because he's going to become the only person that Nathan MacKinnon likes. Like, I didn't see any of that coming, right? But he was, Josh Manson was a top 4 defenseman. You arguably don't need that in this going into this deadline. You don't need another top 4 defenseman. You just need like a guy that rounds out the bottom of your group. The one thing that I would say that you could make a good argument for is a top 6 winger. Because like Ross Colton, but with Ross Colton, Gabe Landeskog, Victor Olofsson, you're talking about guys that maybe are better suited for your third line, which sucks to say about Landy. But if Landy, if the dam breaks, he starts scoring goals, great. Then you probably don't need that top 6 guy. But with the way that Landy looks with the puck, with the way his offense looks right now, you could argue that another top 6 guy would be appropriate, and you could add him to a Ross Colton and a Gabe Landeskog, and then you're turbo deep at wing. You could really use like another goal scorer, like another guy that can give you an easy goal every once in a while. It's supposed to be Brock Nelson. It hasn't been. And it's supposed to be Victor Olofsson. It's starting to be. He's starting to get there. But all of this process is great. But their finishing is a little bit lacking, and one more top 6 wing that can actually pot a goal here or there, I think could be a really big key for them. Compared to that 22 team, though, I mean, there's a reason this fan base is obsessed with Nazem Kadri, because he was a career second line guy until he threw up an 87-point season out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. And it was just like, oh, okay. And total outlier for his career. And it put that team into a different caliber of play when they had a 1-2-3 down the middle that could do the job that they did. Like, it was just such a good lineup, and Kadri at that level was something that, as we saw, they went 16-4 in the postseason. It was darn near unstoppable.
And I look at this team too, and I love the point that you made about, the 4 trade deadline acquisitions. And aside from, that situation where maybe they could use somebody on the finishing side of things, the Avs really aren't in that spot right now where they're like, we need to fix all of these things to become an elite team. Like, they're an elite team right now. We're talking about a team that is currently leading the standings, or at least pretty darn close to it. I haven't looked at it today, but like, we're talking about a team that is top 3 in the league, if not the best. And that, I mean,
let's take a gander.
That's the conversation. That's what
still number 1.
Why do you? Yes, finishing is something you'd love to fix. Yes, getting a consistent 4th line guy so you can deploy a Parker Kelly in the way that he's intended would be great. Having, a Sam Girard back or somebody on that left side would be great. But they're not really in the spot that I think that beginning 2021-22 Stanley Cup team was. And they were elite by the end of that season, went on to win the cup. This is a team that I'm looking at and saying they go out and get one guy, make one big fix, or I guess big, quote unquote, fix at the trade deadline, and this is still an elite team. Like, that's not changing my mind.
We're talking about, like, is this the ultimate champagne problem here? We're talking about maybe another goal scorer that they need. They're 6th right now in offense.
Right.
6th in goals per game. And they're not getting, like, most of that is 5v5 play. They're not, because it's not like they're led by an elite power play that's carrying them to their offense. It's the opposite.
Yep.
Their 5v5 has been unbelievably good.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the finisher that they need is a better power play and not even an actual player, because they're already so good.
Mm-hmm. That's why I'm sitting here pretty and content, is like, if that's like that's the worst thing that they have to fix to become an elite team, to become like the team that can go to do it all. Like that's okay. Fix the power play. Cool.
There's a comment in the chat up a little bit. Where are you guys at with Mackenzie Blackwood? Is there any concern there? Obviously, he comes back, plays his first game, doesn't look very good. That's not really what I'm talking about. But the Avs are being kind of coy with their usage of him. They give Wedgwood the start the other night. Now there's 3 days off. There's a back-to-back coming, so you're expecting him to play. But is this situation a little weird?
It's kind of what I expected with his return, I'm going to say. Like, I mean, in our little mini pod, we kind of talked about that deployment. Once Mackenzie Blackwood does return, Scott Wedgwood's, for the most part, aside from a couple games where he's maybe has looked phenomenal. He's looked incredible. And yes, there again is the conversation. He's not, a built starter, just given how his career has looked. But he's been playing solid. And if that trust is not fully there with Mackenzie Blackwood yet, if there's this idea that, okay, we want to ease him back in after missing so much time, he misses training camp, he misses the first 10-game segment of the season, and you get that first game out of him. That I understand, maybe from my understanding anyway, Bednar is still kind of like, okay, let's not throw him to the wolves just yet. If we can give him a little time to adjust post-injury and still succeed, like, that's what we're going to do. And Scott Wedgwood is putting them in a position to do that.
Yeah.
So if that's it just seems like where the team is sitting. It's not necessarily weird to me. Of course, you'd like to see Mackenzie Blackwood come out guns blazing, like phenomenal, being the starting goaltender that everybody's expecting him to be. And that's just not the reality of it. That's not necessarily how everybody's rehab stints go. It's not how returns work. If you can wait to get the best out of Mackenzie Blackwood, what's the rush?
Yeah, I think a slow ramp up is fine. Just given where they're at and where his recovery took him, it's fine. But they've got the back-to-back this weekend. I expect they split those games. I think it'll be pretty telling who plays in Edmonton. Like how they're viewing this. And Wedgwood's been so good that I am already fully braced for it to be Scott Wedgwood and then Blackwood against Vancouver. And then after that, I think it'll get a lot more interesting, because then they've got 4 straight home games. They play 3 in 6 days. It's a standard NHL rhythm every other day, for the most part. I guess there's 2 days off in there because schedules are hard. I can't read. So I think it'll, like, they use that 4-game homestand. He better play 2 of those games. Like,
yeah.
Scott Wedgwood is not your guy.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even think he's going to be on the roster next year. Like, you want to turn the keys over here, and that's nothing against him. It's just where the organization's at right now.
Mm-hmm.
They've got a top goaltending prospect that's going to be in the NHL at the end of the year. Like, it's just where they're at. So the ramp up on Blackwood being as slow as it's been is fine, but it needs to get going. Like, it really, it needs to step it up. Let's see some of it over the next week. I'm not in a huge hurry with it, though. Like Bailey said, like Wedgwood's play has given them the ability to be chill with it.
Yeah. I would agree. It is still November. If this was January, we might be having a different conversation, but it's not. So you don't have to. Look, when you're 14 games into a season, you only have the data that you have. You can only work with what you've got, and that is exactly 1 game of Mackenzie Blackwood. So there's just not a lot of context to go with here. As AJ said, you need to start giving him more games. And to some extent, how those games look may dictate how the Avs start making decisions with their goaltending. Blackwood is really struggling. Hey, you might have to start doing something. If Blackwood shakes off the rust and gets back into it, cool. You don't have to think too much about this.
Yeah.
Yep. I did want to get into look, we are very deep in the Avs sphere. Obviously, we watch this team every day. We understand who they are and what they are. But when you are looking around the NHL, when you're someone outside of the Avalanche organization, you look at this team, just for ease, people tend to define teams via one dimension. And the Colorado Avalanche generally get defined as a high-skating, high-speed, high-octane offensive team, which is to some extent true. They're one of the leaders in shots per game this year. The leader, in fact, right now. But I'm curious where you guys think... Well, first of all, I'm assuming you agree with me. We've seen a pretty significant uptick in maybe not necessarily the physicality when it comes to big hits, but the willingness for the Avs to get into scrums, the willingness for the Avs to stand up for themselves, being harder to play against, like you were talking about earlier, AJ. Does that come strictly from personnel, like getting Landeskog back, or is this a mentality decision that the Avs have made this year?
Both.
Yeah.
I think getting Landy back really helps them set that tone, but keep the edge. You know, but you look up and down the lineup, they've got like really competitive, obnoxious players to play against. Nathan McKinnon sucks to play against. Like we tried him for his lazy habits that he has, but competitive he certainly is. Arturi Lehkonen, Val Nichushkin, Gabe Landeskog, Ross Colton, all of those guys. High compete levels. Gavin Brindley made the roster because he just would not relax. Not for one single shift in the preseason. He would not take it down a notch. He maxed himself out and made the team. Forced his way onto a roster that, frankly, just didn't need him. And the Avs were like,
he's too good.
What? Yeah, it's just too good. You just can't not. And you look at Parker Kelly. I mean, he's Scott Sterling. He's hockey Scott Sterling. And Yoel Kiviranta has carved out a career with competitiveness. Logan O'Connor, competitive as can be. An undrafted guy whose love of the compete got him into the NHL and has kept him there. Like, up and down their forward lineup, they're hard to play against. Defensively, it's a different story. They just because they don't have the maulers and they don't have they lack size on their back end a little to a degree that you're like, it's not great. Like Brent Burns is big, but he's not very physical. Like he's not a punishing player to play against. He's hard to play against, but he's not punishing. Josh Manson wants to eat your heart and in front of your kids, like psychotic monster on the ice, right? And the defense needs that. And Cale Makar and Devon Taves are really hard to play against because they have the puck all the time. But a hard, grinding, physically difficult to play against, the defense is a little bit lacking. So that's why we talk about that third pairing guy instead of a Sam Malinsky getting a bigger body that likes to block shots, that likes to hit, can still skate the Avalanche way. And that's why it's been hard to do, because there's a specific skill set that you're looking for and you're just trying to figure it out. There's not a lot of guys that are going to be a good fit there that are not also going to cost a lot of money to go out and acquire, which is why the Rasmus Anderson thing is so goofy. Don't need that. You just don't need that.
Yeah.
No. And I think there is also something to be said too. I hate harping on this point, but the hunger that this team has gone into it. Yes, you've got the compete from all of these guys who are really pesty players that you love having on your team that other teams hate playing against. But there's something to be said about them being disappointed in how last year ended and them playing to that point as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Defeat is a great motivator. I'll put it to you that way. does feel like there is a little bit of that for the Avs. Is this team's power play worse than last year's? And
so far.
I know, yes, you can look directly at the numbers and it's worse. Do you think mechanically it's a worse power play this year?
So far.
Okay. So you're not giving them credit for power plays that looked good anymore.
I do think that the switches with Nichushkin in the middle and Olofsson out there on the flank have been productive. And they've gotten them way more into the area that they want. But we need to see like a good 2 or 3 weeks of the power play. Like looking good and producing at the same
time.
Or before it stops being a thing that we have to obsess over all the time.
Yeah. No, and that's where I'm at too, is like it's so easy to say that on paper this team this power play is much better. Ideally they've got the pieces there to be a successful team. It's putting that into action. I don't know. Again, on paper it's better. I'm not fully convinced on what they've done so far this season though.
Yeah. I think that's fair.
They're in a really weird place with it because their process on their power play has been either league worst or very close to league worst, but their process on their penalty kill is elite, either league best or very close to league best. So you're like, okay, one of these got way worse, but the other one has been, I mean, we haven't really talked about the penalty kill that much because the power play sort of dominated that conversation, but it's not just like, oh, well, they're goaltenders. They've been unbelievably good on the PK. Now that I've said this on a show, get ready. Edmonton's about to score 4 power play goals this weekend. But I mean, it's so good on the PK, but the power play is still there's a lot of it's a work in progress. The generous interpretation, a work in progress.
Yeah.
The thing I would say about the power plays, it still feels extremely erratic, right? You watch the first 2 power plays of that Tampa game the other night, and you're like, this looks amazing. Like, this is incredible. And then you watch the 2 power plays from the game before that, and you're like, what is this? This is horrible. So consistency a problem there, perhaps. I'll put it to you that way. We are winding down the show here. I did want to get this show in because at a certain point in a season, you have to stop talking about last year and previous year's teams and just focus in on this year's team and what they actually are currently. So I wanted to get all of that out of our system here as we get into game 15 and 16 this weekend. It's time to compare the Avs to themselves and the league around them this year. Put the past in the past and move forward.
It's normal to do that, I think, through the first 15 game stretch. That's all the comparison you really have to is similar as this Avs squad is going to look. Like you need something to draw off of, but we're getting to the point in the season, as you kind of put it, where we have stats to pull from now. Like they're starting to perform. Everybody's starting to settle in. They're starting to score. There's no need really to compare to that point unless you're, seeing a severe decline in some of these guys. This is the closest comparison you've got, but you've got the stats to pull from now for a lot of these guys. And that's what they need to improve on heading into the rest of the season.
Yep. I think that's solid. Final question. We did our Frauds and Gods watch yesterday. And we don't need any details here. Just a team that off the top of your head has surprised you so far this season.
St. Louis.
That's fair. I'm going to go on the more
Bennington
positive
earlier.
Yeah.
Oh, did you? What a
yeah. There's the answer to the question I was going to ask.
Yeah.
I think for me, I'm going to go kind of on a more positive situation here. Utah. Where Utah's started so far, I think for me and where they kind of sit so far has been my surprise.
Fair enough. I'm glad one of us is positive because I am surprised at just how bad Calgary has been. I knew they weren't going into this season expecting to be great, but woof. All right. We made it. The end of another off-day show. We will be off tomorrow, so you won't see us there, but we'll be live, obviously, both games all day long, Saturday, Sunday. So tune in for those. Go become a diehard. Go read the awesome pieces from AJ and Bailey that are getting put up every game day, and I know we have some other stuff in the hopper. Our roundtable from last week is still pretty relevant with the Natchez deal and all of that. Lots of good stuff, but that's it. We appreciate y'all. This has been the DNVR Avalanche Podcast presented by Bet365, and we'll see you Saturday.
We all silly like the mayor.